I told you.
I was in a bit of a panic.
I know, but this. Call this meeting of the Bryan Independent School District to order. Let the record show that a quorum of board members is present and this meeting has been duly called, and that notice of this meeting has been posted in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code, Chapter 551. I wish to extend a warm welcome to everyone present. I ask that you please turn off all the sounds on your electronic devices, and please join us as we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. We will have Johnson Elementary with the American flag.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Would you like to introduce the students? Oh, there we go.
Parents, if you want to step out and take pictures, you're welcome to do that.
Let's go. Leave my big mug in there. You know you want to be in there. They're like, thank goodness they're photoshopped.
I want y'all to introduce yourselves.
They're like, yeah, they're so excited. You can.
They yell at you start and then y'all go around.
My name's Daisy Portillo. I'm a third grade dual language math teacher.
Brenda Kernovic, fourth grade science and social studies.
Daniel Weiss, third grade ELA dual language at Johnson.
And Lyndon Wolford, third grade math and science teacher at Johnson.
Then the kids, we have them say their names.
Okay, Aubrey.
Aubrey Walton.
Perfect.
Cecily Lapaya. Savannah Becky. Sophia Lawrence. Mia Arteaga. Henry Essler. Brisa Badillo. Virginia McCann. Clara Nacianceno. Annalie Lara. Trace Hall. Quinn Weiderwall. Camden Cox. Levi Becky. Jackson Dickert. June Ray.
Thank you all.
And now we will have Navarro Elementary with our Texas flag.
All right. We're from Navarre Elementary, and we're going to lead you guys in the Texas Pledge. Please salute.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one indivisible.
All right, you can go ahead and say your names. I'm Ms. Schaefer. I'm fourth grade ELA teacher at Navarro.
I'm Raimundo Villarreal. Eddie Barrera. Mallory Good. Peyton Gonzalez. Leslie Marquez. Sofia Navarro. Kalila Lozano.
I'm Callie Schuler. I'm the fourth grade math and science teacher at Navarro.
Thank you. You can hand it to her, please, ma'am.
Great job. Thank you to the teachers, administrators, and also to the parents especially for allowing your students to be here with us tonight. Next, we will have our citizen comments. With that being said, we have none. We will move into our agenda. We'll have our spotlight. First will be our elementary teacher of the month, teacher Daniel Weiss from Johnson Elementary, presented by Principal Amy Thoman.
He has no idea. This was a surprise.
Oh, surprise!
He's one of our student council members, so he thought he was here.
Awesome.
Okay, well, I could talk all day long about your amazing heart, but I figured Sophia De La Rosa would do a better job.
Oh.
Hi, my name is Sophia and I go to school at Johnson Elementary. Did you know that today is World Kindness Day? I find it fitting because tonight we are honoring my kind and awesome teacher, Mr. Wise. Mr. Wise is my homeroom teacher, and here are a few things I love about him. Number 1, if you ever get him a present, regardless of how big or how small, or if it isn't his favorite thing, he still shows that he is so excited about it. Number 2, if he ever sees that you are having trouble listening and something important is happening in class, he will be there for you at all costs and help you get back on track. Number 3, when you need help, and even though Mr. Wise may have a never-ending to-do list, he always puts his students before himself because that's who he is. He is selfless when it comes to the love of his students and teaching. Number 4, he always makes sure that you understand, and if you don't, he doesn't make you feel bad about it. Instead, he takes the time to help you until his students feel success. And lastly, he understands, loves, and accepts everybody's different and unique personalities. I don't think it is a coincidence that we are honoring an amazing teacher on World Kindness Day because Mr. Wise is just that.
I know, so sweet.
Look at Alice.
Thank you.
I haven't always been on the Bryan School Board, and I've addressed the Bryan School Board a long, long time ago, and very first time, and I was 3 times as old as that young lady, and I was way nervous and shaking. Boy, she's much cooler than
Yes, she is, and she's amazing.
Great job.
Yes, fantastic.
Next, we will have teacher Darla Glover, from Navarro, introduced by Principal Kathy Riley.
Can do this one. I don't care. I'm more used to that, but I can do this. And I don't know how I'm going to top that. So
That's a hard act to follow.
very hard. All right. Darla Glover is an exceptional second grade teacher that goes above and beyond for her students. I should have known the kind of team player she was when she came for her interview 5 years ago. During the school day, we had the interview, and we had bad weather where we had to shelter in place. And the minute it started, she jumped up and said, "What can I do to help?" The first of many times she has been all in, doing whatever it takes to assist. She has the biggest heart for those students that often have the most challenges, both academically and behaviorally. Her patience and kindness knows no bounds, and she is always trying something to help her class run as smoothly as possible. She always has a smile on her face and a positive attitude to share. She is beyond tolerant of differences and teaches her students that we're all different and must get along even when something is driving you crazy. Love is the middle of Darla's last name, Glover, and she is constantly showing her love for teaching, for personal learning, for her students and families and staff. We are blessed to have her at Navarro. Thank you.
Next, we will have our secondary teachers of the month. For the month of October, Mr. Gaines, Jack Gaines, was unable to be with us, but he's here tonight. He's from Bryan High School, and he'll be introduced by Principal Lane Boobin.
Good evening. I'm here to present Mr. Jack Gaines as Bryan High School's Teacher of the Month. This was one of the submissions that we had from his department chair, so I'll read that to you tonight. When I think of Jack Gaines, the word reflective comes to mind. Mr. Gaines is always taking the time to reflect on his lessons each day to try and put out the best product to his students. Jack is very in tune to his environmental students and has made my weekly science department teacher shout out on more than one occasion. He completely embodies what it means to be a hands-on science teacher. Jack is constantly trying to allow his students opportunities to understand the world around them and how their environment is really connected to their everyday lives. From the types of student labs he chooses to the field trips he takes our students on, he truly has a knack for understanding the whole child, even with his thoughtfulness to the daily processing activities. He expects his students to work to deepen and enrich their learning experience. He wants them to learn from the day-to-day science lessons and be the change our future needs. Jack is truly putting in the effort to water, prune, fertilize, and cultivate his students' seeds of knowledge that they come into his classroom with at the beginning of the year. He creates lifelong learners through the lens of how their small actions can have a huge impact on their future. Mr. Gaines took on environmental science as a new class just last year. He has grown both the AP and regular sections to the point that we now need an additional teacher for this course. Myself, as science peers and instructional coach, stated how blessed and fortunate they are to get to work with Mr. Gaines on a daily basis. Yes, he is an excellent teacher, but most importantly, a great teammate and leader to all. BHS thanks Mr. Gaines for being a Viking example. Congratulations. You want to come up here? Oh.
The little boy's not having it.
There you go.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Next, our secondary teacher of the month comes from SFA Middle School, Ms. Nicole Perkins, introduced by Principal Kimberly G.
That's right. Good evening. With me tonight is Miss Perkins. Miss Nicole Perkins is our 8th grade advanced ELA teacher. She has been a teacher at SFA for 7 years and has been selected as SFA's November Teacher of the Month. Ms. Perkins is an educator that is recognized for the way that she impacts SFA on the whole campus as well as her individual students. She is an important mentor in the ELA department and continuously works on building relationships with those she works with by elevating everyone to the same high standards she holds herself to. Ms. Perkins can often be found checking on new teachers, giving advice from experience, and supporting student teachers as well as our veteran teachers. In her classroom, Ms. Perkins is an engaging teacher that creates special relationships where students feel free to create and collaborate in a safe environment. Often students are working on unique ways to engage themselves in content and are mastering learning through differentiation that meets all the needs of her students. Our focus this year at SFA is for teachers to incorporate ACE strategies or active cognitive engagement strategies into their lessons. Ms. Perkins has gone above and beyond. During classroom observations, you can find Ms. Perkins students participating in gallery walks around the classroom and sometimes over into the hallway for more space and collaborating with their student groups. She always appreciates the opportunities to learn and grow as a teacher and has been willing to showcase to others what she has implemented in her classroom. Ms. Perkins establishes positive relationships with her students. She gets to know them one-on-ones and holds them to high expectations. She conferences with them individually to set academic goals and celebrates their growth and accomplishments. She also builds truly outstanding relationships with her students' parents. She has all of their phone numbers in her phone, ready to reach out immediately to celebrate all of their successes. Ms. Perkins has presented to staff on the importance of establishing the partnership with parents and the benefits it has on her students in her classroom, both academically and behaviorally. In addition to teaching throughout the school day, Ms. Perkins gets to school very early, often before 6:30 a.m., to make sure she is prepared for her day. She offers tutorials before school and after school for her students to come in and get extra support or finish their classwork. Ms. Perkins also spends time outside of the school day serving on our campus Safe and Civil Schools Committee. She has taken an active role in helping the committee collect data, attend training, and very soon we'll be implementing our positive change on our campus. As a team member on our campus, Ms. Perkins also engages with staff and boosts campus morale by creating fun opportunities to celebrate student and teacher achievements. For example, Ms. Perkins created a red carpet for students to walk down during Red Ribbon Week to celebrate their being drug-free, and teachers were invited to share in the excitement of the students. She is also often seen holding a sign that says free hugs, and she will give a hug to any student, whether it is hers or not, that is needing a hug. Overall, Ms. Perkins is a vital part of SFA and enriches the school culture through her caring and support of every teacher and student. Our essential 8 word for the month is gratitude, and we are extremely grateful to have Ms. Perkins as a member of our Bronco team, and this is why she was celebrated as our November Teacher of the Month.
We want to thank our partnership with Truist Bank for what you do to support our teachers. We're so very grateful for that. And next, we'll have our Auxiliary Employee of the Month. Employee is Ms. Gully Contreras from the Rudder Fieldhouse Athletic Department, presented by Ron Cleary, our Executive Director of Auxiliary Services.
Good evening, members of the board. Tonight, we're excited to introduce to you Gilly Contreras, and she comes to us from the Custodial Services Department, and she is our Auxiliary Employee of the Month. Ms. Contreras is the athletic custodian at Rudder Fieldhouse and has worked for Bryan ISD for 16 years. Her main responsibility is to maintain the cleanliness of Rudder Fieldhouse and the Rudder athletic areas. She consistently exceeds expectations in keeping the Fieldhouse offices, hallways, That you.
Somebody's calling to congratulate already.
Weight room, training room, locker room, restrooms, and showers clean and disinfected. In addition, she is in charge of student uniform laundry. She also maintains the cleanliness of the football field, stadium, tennis courts, baseball, and softball fields. While the Rudder Fieldhouse was short one custodial position, she approached the situation with a positive attitude and understanding the departmental goals of readiness. The same positivity is exhibited by going the extra mile to support the district athletic events after hours and on weekends. Although Gilly is primarily assigned to maintain the cleanliness of the Rudder Fieldhouse, she makes herself available to help Rudder campus with cleaning classroom areas when needed. She is self-driven and works independently with such pride and delivering a job well done. Gilly is dedicated to her job and consistently exceeds expectations. When approached by the custodial supervisor, she always expresses how much she loves her job. There is no doubt she does love her job, and it shows. Thank you, Gilly, for your dedication and hard work. You are very much appreciated.
Thank you.
I had a Rudder kid there for 4 years, played baseball, so thank you very much. Yes, ma'am, exactly, exactly.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
I see where she gets it from now.
Not at all.
It is always so good when we can recognize great employees for the district. We are so thankful and proud that we have other individuals that care about the facilities and the district as much as we do. Next, we will move on to our standing committee reports. We have two. The first one is the Intergovernmental Committee update. I attended that meeting today, and Ms. Waller was there also on Zoom. But the one thing from the meeting that was truly awesome to be able to sit there as a board member, our CTE department presented, and it was awesome. They presented a lot of information that people from Bryan and College Station had no idea what we were doing. They were able to answer all the questions that they had, and for them to be able to tell those leaders of the community exactly what our students are doing, what they're being taught, the market of the industry, the businesses that are hiring our students when they graduate or hiring them before they graduate, so when they graduate they have a job. It was phenomenal. They truly did us a fantastic job. They represented us very well today. You have anything to add, Ms. Waller?
I was just, it's kind of ironic because we went before College Station, CTE people made their presentation, and it was just kind of heart-filled because their career and technology director was taught and grown up and learned his stuff in Bryan ISD. So they kind of stole him, but he was trained here. They had to complement our CTE program because their students come to our CTE program daily and learn in our wonderful facility. And they're building a new career and technology center, much geared after what we've done. And so I'm very proud to say that even the College Station, when they made their presentation, they bragged on Bryan's CTE program.
Next, we will have our superintendent update.
Thank you, Ms. Benford. Yes, it was wonderful sitting at that meeting today. And I think everyone noticed that Bryan ISD and College Station ISD were true partners when it came to CTE, so that was a good message for our entire community as well. But tonight, we'd like to shine a light on our students and our staff and family and community engagement in Bryan ISD. Lots of great things happening, starting with just a few short days ago, we celebrated our esteemed alumni at the Bryan ISD Education Foundation Hall of Honor event. It was wonderful, and this photo just speaks 1,000 words because one of the alumni is Mr. Lester Banks. He's still employed with Bryan ISD, and I think everyone there knew him in some form or fashion. So it was just a great event and another way to bring our community together for all the right reasons. We've also been busy at our campuses, and just a huge, huge thank you to Texas A&M University, Mays Business School in particular, as they came out to 2 different campuses already, Crockett Elementary and Kemp Carver Elementary, and gave away bicycles to several of our students for perfect attendance and great grades. So as you can see in the photo, this was a great celebration. The university students set their alarms and got up early in the morning to join our students and to celebrate and recognize them in this way. So we're thankful for our partnership there. Also celebrating community, we've had so many Veterans Day programs throughout the district, and I went to a couple of them, and again, I'm proud to say that we have had record turnout for families in attendance as well as our community members. And then you can see in this photo here, this is our students wrote thank you notes to the veterans. So it was just a very heartfelt day, again, celebrating our community in a wonderful way. Keeping the tradition of family celebrations, we're just shining a light today on our partnership with Read by Third. This is at Jones Elementary. You can see in the photo, lots of family members are there, and what you can't see is all their children were behind the scenes working with teachers with literacy and just building capacity and helping our parents to realize all the resources that we offer in Bryan ISD as well as our community. Just a great partnership for families in particular. Also, with family celebrations, my goodness, this is a favorite time of year because the Thanksgiving lunches have been happening on our campuses. So, again, families turning out in record attendance to eat lunch with their students and to celebrate this time of year with their children on our campuses. Also, just another great student celebration. You're looking at a photo. This is in partnership with the Bryan Rotary Club. Every year they host the Field of Valor where they place 1,200 flags out for display. And these are the children that showed up to put them out on a cold, kind of rainy Saturday morning. And just yesterday on Sunday, again, another group of 35, 40 kids showed up to take all the flags down. So this just sends a message to our community that our middle school and high school kids are showing up in full force to support our community in every way possible. In this way in particular, it was a bit of a history lesson because the Rotarians took every chance they had to talk to the kids about what this meant for Veterans Day in mind. And also with community service and great students. This is in partnership with Habitat for Humanity just a few short weeks ago at the Pumpkin Patch. Again, we had students show up on a Sunday to volunteer their time to give back to the community. So we're working really hard to help them to understand the importance of community service. And then finally, communication continues to be a top priority for us in our district, not just with our families and communities at large, but among our staff. So Callie Donnelly in particular with our communications team came up with a really great addition to my monthly newsletter, and she's making it interactive. So you're looking at a photo celebrating our staff members. They participated in a trivia contest. Their names were in a drawing for Chick-fil-A lunch. So we made their day by showing up with Chick-fil-A for lunch after they participated in the trivia contest. This is just a really great way to make sure that they're reading all the way through the newsletter and they're staying current with our information coming out of the district level. So just great things happening as we approach the Thanksgiving holiday. We are finishing this first semester on a very strong note. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Carabine. I want to make sure to let Callie know I participated and didn't get Chick-fil-A lunch yet.
Uh-oh.
You didn't even get a picture.
I'm waiting. I didn't get a picture. You're right.
We will make note of that.
Next, we have our information items. The first, we'll have an update on the development of our 2024-2025 instructional calendar by our Director of Counseling Services, Ms. Donna Willett. I think Ms. Barbara Yabar is going to help her. You're the clicker assistant. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm glad to be back, believe it or not, to talk about calendar because I love working on the calendar. as I said last year, and I've said it in every meeting and presentation I've done so far, that the best thing about school calendar is when we prepare a calendar, we prepare it for 1 year at a time. And as we adopt a calendar and move through the year, we learn what is working and what is not working. And so, to kind of give you a little history of where we are up through today. First, we have a calendar committee. It is made up with as many different people as I could come up with as part of this committee, from students to parents, all of our different programs that we have in the district. We have teachers, we have administrators, we have district personnel, we have school board members that are a part of this. I want to say I was so proud today. One of our students walked in and she did homework. She came back and she went to her principal, she asked questions, and she walked in, she already started working on a calendar because that was our task for our meeting today. So that was really impressive. As we start calendar, there's a whole lot of things that we have to keep in place. Many of those are guidelines that are given to us from the state. We have to have 75,600 operational minutes. Those operational minutes are counted from the time that the tardy bell rings till the bell rings at the end of each day, along with professional development can count into that up to 2,100 minutes. But basically, we're looking at how much instructional time does a student have. When we were all in school, it was all about the number of days. And when the state updated their parameters, now it's about the number of minutes that they count as operational minutes. We also have to take into consideration that we are a district of innovation, and in our local plan, it states the district will determine an appropriate start date annually by gathering stakeholder input as required by the board policy EB local in its determination of the first day of instruction. Again, the state has specific parameters that you cannot start before the fourth Monday in August. As a district of innovation, we have some flexibility. Obviously, we have to look at the state testing calendar, which we'll talk a little bit more about in a minute as to how that affects our spring and days and when we might take off. And then I talked just a minute ago about professional development. The state says we can count up to 2,100 minutes of professional development time towards that 75,600. If we have more time than that, or specific teacher work days, they cannot count towards that 75,600. Timeline. Timeline is really full. I'm trying to get in front of as many different types of groups as I can, including the Parent Advisory Board, the Teacher Advisory Board, DEIC. I went last week with Ms. Carabine and we talked with the student ambassadors at Rudder. So we are getting input from as many groups as possible, and the calendar committee today finished meeting number 2. We'll continue to work. I will come back and visit with you again throughout the process. And then our ultimate goal is when we return from Christmas break, that we would send out a community-wide survey with some choices and then be able to come to you by January 22nd board meeting to make a recommendation for the calendar. Now the real meat of it. What are the things that we're looking at? Well, the first one is the actual physical calendar. It couldn't be more confusing than I've ever seen. Things that are different. Well, Labor Day is September 2nd. Well, you always say, well, it's always the first Monday in September. But the first is as early as it can be. Thanksgiving is November 28th, which is literally as late as it can be. So there's a huge gap from Labor Day to Thanksgiving. Christmas falls on a Wednesday, so do you get out early? Do you go up to the 20th? Do you take off in midweek? So if Christmas is in the middle of the week, then the first of the year is in the middle of the week. Do you really come back on a Friday? How does that play into that? And then the last one that's even more confusing, and we don't have any direction from the state yet, though they say they could make some adjustments, Easter is incredibly late. It's April the 20th, which falls smack in the middle of the STAR testing windows for next spring. So we have lots of outliers that affect not just people's thoughts on PD days and half days, but how the calendar actually falls. Things that we agree on already at this point, that Thanksgiving break should continue to be a week. We want to keep in teacher equivalency days, that time that they earn for doing summer professional development. We call them TE days. But how many and where they might end up in the calendar are still things that we are discussing. And then I think pretty much everyone is in agreement. This fall was difficult. It was very hard to get into a routine. Though people are not saying no half days or no PD days or no fall break. It's all about how we put it together are the things that we need to talk about. So everybody did agree that it was really hard to get into a structured routine. So what are we working on? We're working on when are the start dates? Will we have early releases? If we do, how many? Will we have full day professional days throughout the year? If we do, how many? Fall break is a big discussion. No fall break, 2 days, 3 days, 5 days. What might that be? And then again, we talked about the way Christmas falls, when that release for Christmas would be. So that's kind of where we are right now. I'm holding like 7 different calendars. Today was group day, and we mixed groups up that had parents, teachers, administrators work together to develop. I have 7 calendars. We will go through and look at what is the same on these calendars, what are different, how can we start narrowing it down to 2 or 3 to bring back. And that's all I have so far today. Questions?
I mentioned in our meeting, it's also a leap year.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, I'm glad because that's my granddaughter's birthday. But that one day does throw everything even off, even more than what it was to begin with. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Willard, for that update. Next, we will move on to our items for discussion and our action on our consent agenda. Is there any items on the consent agenda that any board member wishes to have information about or have pulled off?
No, ma'am. And I would move, Ms. Binford, to approve all of the items listed on the consent agenda.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Gonzalez and a second by Mr. McCall to approve the consent agenda. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Next, we will move on to our items for discussion and our action on our regular agenda. Our first will be business services. It will be discussed and consider approval of a purchase over $50,000 for a maintenance and operation box truck. And our presenter will be Assistant Superintendent of Business Services, Mr. Kevin Besaw, assisted by Mr. Ron Cleary.
Yes, thank you, ma'am. I have Mr. Cleary here to fill in the gaps, and since he deals with this issue on a daily basis. But this is a recommended purchase of a box truck for the Maintenance and Operations Group. This is an item that they budget every year to have replacement vehicles, 1 or 2, depending on what they can afford. But we've gone through the process of pricing a new one just to see what that would cost, and we can see there it's roughly $137,000. We've also gotten quotes on some used ones. I think the recommended one is a 2022 Freightliner that has low miles on it. And of course, this will replace a 2005 year model gas engine. And I should mention the one that they're going to purchase is a diesel engine. Is that correct? Yes, sir. And so this replaces a 2005 model that has a gas engine with 245,000. And we listed some of the issues there that occur with this truck. So purchasing this would be out of their operating budget as planned prior to the year, and would also save some rent on the box truck when they've had to rent it when this truck has been down. Anything you want to add?
You know, we also not share it, but we do loan it out to our athletic department. I think Rudder mostly, that uses the box truck for athletic events. So it's not just, I mean, we are the majority user of it, but we do use it in other areas of the district as well.
It looks like from the description of problems that you just need maybe new seat covers and a paint.
Exactly.
That's what I
A
was-
good car wash goes a long way, Mr. Stasny, I agree. I do appreciate you guys looking at alternatives to buying it retail brand new. That's, I know Mr. Stasny will disagree with me, but I really, really appreciate that.
God, it's a little bit more than just getting, going to Walmart and getting the seat cover.
That's pretty evident.
I do like your idea.
Yeah, that's pretty evident. Very convincing, by the way.
I move approval of the box truck for maintenance and operations in the amount of $75,045 as presented.
Second.
Thank you.
Actually, this time I would be more inclined to just say, what took y'all so long?
They got their money's worth out of that one.
Exactly, I'm very impressed.
Well, we have another vehicle. That,
Got 3 more.
thank you.
So we have a motion by Mr. McCall, seconded by Mr. Gonzalez. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you so very much, gentlemen. Our next item will be teaching and learning. Consider approval of purchase over $50,000 for Stepping Stone Group. Our presenter will be our Executive Director of Special Services, Ms. Jennifer Warren.
Good evening. Tonight I bring to you a request to alter how we have previously approved some funds for our contracted services for special education. The board previously approved various contracts during the summer and the beginning of the school year to help with contracted services related to evaluations, therapy, and counseling for our students in special education. Following that approval, along with many of the schools across the state and nation, we found that they also could not find contracted workers to come work for us. And so we have one of our contracted services that cannot fulfill their contract, which is going to free up some funds, and we would like to reallocate those funds to Stepping Stones, who has 3 LSSPs ready to come and work for us. So upon approval, what we would like to do is reallocate those approved funds to Stepping Stones in the amount of not to go over $299,500 to reallocate to those 3 LSSPs. And you'll also notice that the amount that we're asking to reallocate is actually less than the amount that you approved for the vendor that we are going to be pulling from. So this is actually a savings instead of more spending.
You're learning how to get to us, aren't you?
Yes, I am learning.
The magic words.
I think something else important to know about this contract is that we are not obligated to the $299,500. That's what we feel that we will spend with this vendor if we utilize those 3 LSSPs for the entire school year. But if we are fortunate enough to find our own LSSP, then we are able to pull away from that contract and not spend the full amount and have that person on staff and reallocate those funds back to a salary.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Are there any more questions?
Ma'am, Ms. Benford, I move approval of the contract with the Stepping Stones Group in an amount not to exceed $299,500.
Second.
Thank you.
I have a motion by Mr. Gonzalez, seconded by Mr. Stasny. All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. The board will now convene in closed session to discuss the following items as allowed by the Texas Government Code, Chapter 551.074 and 551.0821. No voting will take place in the closed meeting. Any action the board wishes to take as a result of discussion in closed session will take place after the board reconvenes in the open meeting. It is now 6:44 p.m.
It's pretty impressive, Ms. Benford.
Hey, every time. I told you.
know what?
The board reconvened in open session at 7:01 PM. No action was taken in closed session. We are now adjourned.
Wow, Ms. Benford.
Good job.
I think I'm gonna